Good morning and welcome back to BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today I'm joined once again by Ian Matheson for this week's roundup of the news. So Ian, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Well, thank you, Brooke. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. What's been going on this week and what have we got coming up?
Well, obviously the big news in the last week was the election win by Donald Trump in the US presidential election. And there's obviously been no shortage of speculative comment about the possible impact of that on international freight and logistics. Much of the speculation obviously centres on the increased tariffs on imported goods that the president-elect stated would be on the cards should he get re-elected. And if that occurs, the likely losers will be those involved in moving cargo into and from the USA via air and ocean freight. But I think it's got to be pointed out that if Trump's re-election delivers the strong US economic growth that his campaign promised, this will act as a growth and demand driver for freight movement. So that might be beneficial to those members. And of course, in anticipation of those tariffs, I think we can expect to see importers hedging their bets and importing goods which are not time sensitive somewhat earlier than normal to avoid as much tariff as possible. In fact, I know we've talked about this before, some importers have already been doing that over the past couple of months, not just in anticipation of a potential Trump victory, but the situation on the eastern US Gulf coast in regards to the dock strike. And I think a lot of commentators are saying that the surge in demand that is likely to occur will lead to increasing spot rates on US import trades in the coming weeks and months. So something for your members to take note of.
And it will certainly be an interesting time come January 20th when he's sworn in. But of course, like always, it will be a while until we see what policies he actually brings in.
Yeah, I think it's a long-term waiting game. And, anyway, away from politics, in the air freight arena, IATA reported that global air cargo markets experienced a significant 9.4% growth in demand in September 2024 compared to the same month in 2023. That marks the 14th consecutive month of growth, with international operations seeing a 10.5% increase. Capacity also rose by 6.4% year on year, and belly hold capacity increased by 10.3%. And that extension of double-digit annual capacity growth has now continued for 41 consecutive months.
Oh, wow. I'm sure that our members in the air freight arena who provide those services, I'm sure that's good news for them to hear.
Well, it sounds like it. Although it's less good news in the ocean freight environment, where Sea Intelligence reported that container line shipping schedule reliability decreased by 1.2 percentage points month on month in December, down to 51.4%. And that's based on data from 34 trade channels and over 60 shipping lines, so it's fairly comprehensive. Yeah. The data showed that the average delay for late arrivals rose by 0.21 days each month to 5.67 days. Meanwhile, maritime data intelligence company Vessel Value reported that orders for new container ships are up by 52% year on year.
Oh, wow.
With 254 new orders placed in 2024 compared to only 167 in the corresponding period of 2023. It's also said that with 362 new container ships entering the market already this year, a further 169 due to be delivered in the last few months of the year, 2024 looks like it will be a record-breaking year for new buildings delivered.
And there's obviously going to be a lot of tonnage that comes out of that as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also important to note that Vessel Value said that there's only 48 container vessels have been sent for demolition this year, which is a fall of about 45% year on year. Returning to something of a political nature, back in 2020, I remember there was some sceptical commentary when a certain Michael Gove announced that the UK was on its way to creating the most effective border in the world by 2025. Those sceptics appear to have been proved correct by last week's announcement by HMRC that for the 2025 to 2026 financial year, there will be a pause in the development of the Single Trade Window programme.
Mm-hmm.
And that programme, as you know, aims to provide a single UK border service that streamlines data across government and trade. And they're pausing it due to the challenging fiscal issues that have been announced post the election. The decision seems to mean that the first strategic release of the Single Trade Window functionality, including the user interface for safety and security, will now not be launched publicly this year. And I understand the government will now consider the role of the Single Trade Window and will provide a review and an update as part of the next phase of the spending review, reporting in late spring 2025. But there's a lot of information about that on the BIFA website.
And the link to that will be in the panel below with the rest of the links. And I'm sure that we'll continue to comment on this as the situation develops as well.
To finish off today, Brooke, I noticed that the London Legacy Development Corporation, which was set up around the time of the Olympics in 2012, to ensure a lasting legacy from the Olympic Games, they've unanimously approved an outline master plan to transform over 30 acres of brownfield land at Bow Goods Yard in East London into a major new rail freight and logistics hub. It's quite close to the Olympic Park, including heavy and light industrial space as well as a range of complementary leisure services. Apparently, Network Rail says the development will serve as a crucial last-mile logistics facility for the capital, and it claims it will help to take over 90,000 HGV movements per year off the national road network and thereby reduce congestion and emissions.
It's good to see that the organisation's doing its job. Thank you so much, Ian, for this update. I'm sure our members will find this useful as always. Like we said, the links to all of the articles discussed today will be in the panel below, along with Ian's contact details for further inquiries. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information.